my mind a lot. Don't need no time watch. I don't know how I got you in my pocket spot. Yeah, that's babe, need you every day. You like my oxygen. Make it seem like the barging down. Got my heart no barging in. From the bed to the floor to the couch. Might wake the neighbors up. Break you in and break you out. In the end, we're gonna make it.
Deanna, hi. We're back for another edition of All Time High. There is quite a bit going on in the market these days. What is it that you're seeing that's happening today that you kind of want to talk about with the listeners that we have out there?
Yeah. So last night I picked my son up coming home from his summer trip, and he starts telling me about this payment thing going on Steam. So Visa and
Wait a
Mastercard.
second. You picked up your son, like he got in late, like 2 a.m., right?
Yeah, I know. United, isn't it? The flights these days are like, I think anytime you fly, you should just bank on you're either going to have a layover. Like, I don't think it's going to be smooth, and don't think you're going to get there on time, because it doesn't feel like this year that's happened yet for anybody. So just bank on that. So you got in at like
now
2
you're
a.m.
operating on very little sleep. You're here for the listeners.
I mean, that's right.
Yeah,
Yes.
you're basically working through the pain like we all do in the crypto markets at certain times.
Oh yeah, coffee's your friend.
I mean, let's get some caffeine. You're fully caffeinated. Let's go. All right. So you were saying your
So
son was
Steam.
telling you. Yeah.
So he, I mean, of course, we always get into these big topics, and I love hearing his perspective because it's obviously different than mine. But he was saying how crazy it was that all of a sudden Visa and Mastercard are starting to cut off payments to Steam. And in the beginning, it was like, okay, they understood some of the games they were taking off were probably a little inappropriate and deserved, or not, you saying you can't buy those things. That makes sense. But now they're starting to restrict LGBTQ. So anything to do with LGBTQ cannot be used. You can't use Visa or Mastercard. And here's where the problem is,
I'm going to back you up just a second because you're going fast, and it's because you know the topic so
it's all
well.
the coffee.
It is all the caffeine. So when you talk about Stream, though, that is a payment services provider for?
No, Steam is
Steam,
it's a gaming platform. So essentially you could come up, you can make video games, you put them on there, and then people can come buy your video games off of Steam. And then they use Visa and Mastercard as a payment processor in order to buy the video games on Steam, or to play the games on Steam. So it's a whole little gaming intricacy where different people can come and make up games and put their games on there, and then people can come and play them. So essentially think of like an arcade, a digital arcade of games that are just randomly made by people.
All right. And so I've pulled up so the listeners can see this article from Polygon that talks about the fight against Visa and MasterCard.
Yeah, I think the US saw this problem is we came at it and say, okay, we're going to be the world's currency. And then the first time another country did something that we didn't like, we sanctioned them. And that was a big turnoff to a bunch of other countries to say, okay, wait a minute, these guys get mad at me, then they can just cut off my entire financial stuff. And so people started getting off the dollar. Well, now you've got Visa and MasterCard coming in and saying what you can and can't do with your money. And I think it's just a slippery slope. Like, who is the deciding factor? Anything LGBTQ is not illegal. Nobody's doing anything illegal.
It's Chokepoint 2.0 in a different way, a different realm, right? Controlled by the credit cards.
Yeah. So financial censorship is a big no-no, I think, in public opinion. I mean, we work hard to make our money. Who are you to tell us where and when we can't spend it? Unless it's illegal. Don't get me wrong. There should be some rules, right? But if it's legal, I don't understand why they're doing it. So I think, though, why we're talking about it on this platform and our show is because it is the perfect use case for cryptocurrency. If they're going to continue to cut off our financial resources, people are going to gravitate more and more to cryptocurrency, period.
Okay, so it's a crackdown on adult games. All right, so I'm going to take the bait here. What is an adult game? What is it that I don't know that I don't know that?
There was, so it started off with one where it was, and I'm going off of my son's recollection at this point, not necessarily.
No problem.
But it was a video game that was actually extremely inappropriate, to where you were supposed to go and, hurt somebody's mom, I guess, in a
collective shout
way.
A game that was depicting violence against women. So I can see where that might be a.
Yep, and I can see that too. But then it started breaching into other things where it was like minor infractions or not that big of a deal. So, for example, in this context is Grand Theft Auto, right?
Oh
Because
yeah.
you have
Yeah.
prostitution. You right. You have. So are you saying Grand Theft Auto now is no longer an appropriate game? Who gets to make these decisions if it's not illegal? And why are the financial institutions doing it?
That's interesting. Why do you think Visa and MasterCard got in the mix on this? I mean, they've made a choice. Is it because of the loud minority, so to speak?
Yeah, I mean, maybe, or maybe, it's one of those things. It always feels like when people are reactionary, they always overreact to a degree. So
Yes.
it's like, like instead of banning assault guns, you ban all guns, or, instead, like they just in Texas, I don't know if you know this, they just ban cell phones in schools. So no student in school can have a turned on cell phone at all. It's against the law in Texas.
Yeah, I've heard something about that.
Right.
That's
So
wow.
they're doing all these extreme grasps for different control, when in the reality is like, just take the game down. Why is the game on there? If the game is inappropriate, don't come at it from a payment processor and say we're going to restrict your ability to play this game. Go take the game down and say we're not going to allow you to sell this game. Right.
Yeah, and that's interesting what someone said on one of the websites. Some games vanish not because they broke the law, but because someone decided they shouldn't exist. And I think that's
Exactly.
probably what you take the most issue with. No?
Yes. Yeah. Like we're getting to this really slippery slope of censorship, right? You're seeing it all across the UK. You're seeing it across Germany. You're seeing some of it in America. I mean, probably a good chunk of it in America. We just like to act like we don't censor anything, but
No doubt.
who at the end of the day though, who is going to get to decide, and why do some of these people get to make these decisions about our lives and the things that we're doing? And where does that road end?
Well, let me ask you another way. Where does that road, two roads diverged in the wood, and what is the alternative, Robert Frost there for you, the alternative path for somebody who like is playing these games? And you mentioned cryptocurrency is one way, but if Visa and MasterCard shut this down, aren't there other way? I mean, aren't there other credit card companies? Aren't there other mechanisms for payment that make it available? Or
Yeah,
are you saying
maybe.
that this platform is shutting the whole thing down because Visa and MasterCard said no?
Well, I mean, let's say you use your debit card is likely Visa or MasterCard as well.
It
Right.
is.
So it doesn't even
Yeah.
have to be a credit card. So essentially you'd have to get out of the entire, like banking payment system in order to do anything to transact with something that Visa and MasterCard won't accept. So cryptocurrency is going to be the thing. And my son and I had this whole debate, like, well, that's why you use Bitcoin. And he's like, people don't spend Bitcoin. And I'm like, I know that. And then he goes, well, it was $20 and you can't just say it's $20. I was like, of course you can. You say it's $20 and you paid $20 in Bitcoin. And he goes, well, now that person you paid Bitcoin to has 25. And I was like, that's why people don't spend Bitcoin.
Yeah. They're collecting it.
But this is the use case, right? So right now it's all speculative. So as people are buying on speculative markets and you start seeing this utility come out, and look, let's not forget the original use case for Bitcoin was the dark web. And I hate to put that condensation on it, like that. It's a little mucky thing that hangs over Bitcoin, but it's the truth. That was the first use case, was getting on the dark web and being able to buy whatever you wanted to do. Well, now we find ourselves in a position again where Bitcoin has a lot bigger foothold than it used to. And you're starting to see this censorship of financial stuff that Bitcoin is just going to clear the way for people to keep doing what they're doing, which goes back to wouldn't you just take the game down versus stopping the payment processing on that side? Because in one sense, you're saying this thing you're doing is wrong. In another sense, you're saying we're not going to allow you to spend your money on the things we don't think are appropriate. And those are two different conversations.
I think this does go into like Chokepoint 2.0 where, and have you heard recently what Caitlin from Wyoming said about basically she's been trying to get, I'm going to try to find the episode here. Have you seen where she's been outspoken about the federal government and the inability for her to get a banking license that would allow her to conduct transactions in cryptocurrencies?
No, but I 100% believe it. Like I 100% believe it. It is, it's kind of crazy. And actually, I'm glad you just mentioned that to me because I have a business opportunity. So when we get off of here, remind me and we'll connect on that. But this is the thing is it's becoming a more and more gated. Look, I get when you're messing with money, there's a lot of things that have to happen. I worked in payment processing. I understand the legalities that go behind it. I understand the concern of money laundering and the fact that there are people who want to hurt people in the world and you have to protect against that stuff. But I think they use that fear as a way to incite control, and they take it to this big extreme. But I don't. Why was she not able to get her banking license? Did she say?
Well, I think she's actually brought a lawsuit against the Federal Reserve, or if not the federal government, because they've been in line for an application for 5 years, which has been summarily denied, like
Jeez.
repeatedly not spoken about. And the one person who gets the banking license that allows people to do what she's been trying to do for 5 years is somebody that used to serve on the Federal Reserve Board, right? So it's been one of those things where it's not what you know, it becomes more of who you know.
Mm-hmm.
And once you're the incumbent, which is what Mastercard and Visa are, they can choose to keep people out. And the same thing happens in political circles to some extent as well. I'm trying to find this video. It's definitely worth watching. So I may ask you to vamp a little bit, because Caitlin is also from Wyoming, which is where Senator Lummis is from, who heads up the Senate Finance Committee. We're already in trouble, I guess, with that. So this is going to be one of those political episodes that we didn't mean to go there with. But let me play the video for you. She is applying for a Fed master account. And now there's another company, and I am so sorry. I'm so sorry, Deanna.
Uh-oh.
This is going to get back to XRP. I apologize. Yeah,
No.
you saw it coming from a mile away. You probably knew. But Ripple is applying recently, and they seem to now, even though they got sued by the SEC in the last regime, last group of leaders, our president, Biden, and the crew didn't like him so much.
Yeah.
Seems like this crew likes him a lot more.
Yeah.
And so let me play Caitlin, though. Let's not focus on what it's not about. I think it's her motivation, though, so that's where it comes from.
Yeah.
But
Did you see too that Trump? You can, as you're queuing it up, I'm gonna just chat a minute. But
go ahead.
Trump is getting ready to pass an executive order about the unbanked, and I only caught a tidbit of it. I didn't get to see it, but I know they referenced specifically J.P. Morgan and the fact that J.P. Morgan was blocking accounts and banning people just because.
Again, gatekeepers. When you're in power, how do you keep the others out? And I mean, the only reason the USA passed the stablecoin legislation, in my estimation, so quickly is because it allows the US dollar to maintain its status as the world reserve currency status. And since we've already been blown up this episode, you know that China is now advancing a stablecoin concept.
Wait,
because
how did we blow up this episode?
Because we talked about political names.
Oh,
I said the
you can't
word
say
China
political
just
names
now.
either. God, the censorship is strong.
I mean, I can't even get this out as much as we'd like to get it out, because once we put a political name on it, it gets flagged for political.
Oh, that's crazy.
I know because I'm in the platform. Like, I'm not making this stuff up to say this. I know.
Yeah, the censorship is strong. But
yes,
the
censorship is strong in this one. We need like a video of Admiral Akbar from Star Wars saying,
so in my travel, even in July, we were going places and they wouldn't accept cash. So what happens if you're just one of these people and you can't get a bank account and you go somewhere and they can't take cash? Like, you're putting people in a very, very bad position. I can work for my money, but I can't access it. I can't spend it. I can't use it. I mean, that's a ridiculous situation.
All right, here we go. Caitlin Clark talking about in an eerie way, Chokepoint 2.0, and the fact she's being choked out of trying to get a Fed master account. Can you see her there on the screen?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Let's listen to what she has to say.
Trying to do the same thing we started doing 5 years ago, which is getting a bank charter and applying for Fed master accounts. Several of them have done that now. They're not doing full-fledged bank charters. They're doing trust company charters in most cases. There is a difference. Banks can take deposits of U.S.
So right there, she's saying that she's more qualified, right? And she's been at this for 5 years.
Yep.
So she's been choked out, to be fair. I think she's very knowledgeable about the space. And so she's going to start saying some things here in a second that probably don't hold much water, but I think that foundational gives you the catalyst for, at this point, she's willing to do anything. At this point, she's willing to say anything. Why not? It hasn't worked to this.
Dollars. Trust companies not. And it's good. It's going to be interesting to see how the banking agencies deal with that whole question of, can you run a crypto company, including a stablecoin issuer, using a trust company charter? It's not been done yet at the federal level in particular. Some states have done it, but they're not actually taking deposits. There's always a bank partner behind them. What they're trying to do now is create a trust company that gets a Fed master account for a tiny fraction of the capital that a bank has to hold.
So she's basically saying she's backing her reserves 1-to-1, and that they're trying to kind of skate and skip and skimp around the more onerous regulations, and that they're using relationships to get through a side door. I won't call it a back door. I'll call it a side door.
Of course.
Here we go. Let's let her finish. 25 more seconds.
I'm not sure that's going to be that easy. It's going to be interesting. I think there's going to be litigation over this. I think
I will sue you, Deanna.
Yeah.
Do you think there'll be litigation over this? She might be suing somebody.
it's not going to be a quick path. And I like where we are having a depository institution charter. We're still waiting for that Fed master account. It'll be 5 years in October that both Kraken and Custodia applied for our Fed master accounts.
Jeez, Kraken too? Kraken's legit. Kraken's not.
I mean, she's legit at some level, but she's not on the inner circle. And just like the example you started with at the beginning of the show, if you're not part of that group at that table,
yeah, there is. And the problem is technology is making it easier and easier for them to segment us. So like, if you're not in the group, cut off your access, I cut off your phone, I cut off your currency, I cut off your financial, there's so much control that they have now. And we make it so easy. I mean, we don't make it easy for them. It is easy for them just because of technology, but it's going to be crazy. I don't think it's going to be far, and we're going to be in that, is it the black swan? You know what I mean?
It's coming. I called that.
Yeah.
I called that.
No, I know. I feel like we're there. We're almost there. It's happening.
No, they do test pilots from time to time, but the next black swan, the next pandemic is going to be a technological one. So, I mean, I do have a pathway around that. I'm here to help this space grow. I do want people to be safe and protected and loved and trusted. I would tell you, if you don't recognize that your internet provider can go down like that, or that your phone provider can go down like that, or that the electrical grid can go down like that. I mean, I'm not preparing for a nuclear explosion, but I do have like the low level satellite thing.
I was like, no, we're just prepping for winter in Texas. That's all that is.
Well, that's why I have a generator. That is definitely why. That winter storm was brutal. I lost power for 3 days. And so the first day is fun. It feels like camping, but the second day when you're in 45-degree, 52-degree weather inside your house and there's snow outside on the ground, it's pretty brutal in terms of survival skills. But the other one I was going to say, what's the Elon's low level satellite deal? Starlink.
Oh, Earthlink? Starlink.
Yeah, I have that. And I will verify works like a charm.
They just had an outage.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
they for the first time ever, they just had a huge outage within the last week.
So I was going to say something. You said the technology is a way for them to shut us off, shut us down. I also ironically believe the technology is a way to level the playing field.
Agreed. Yeah.
If they choose to. So, those in power seek to stay in power.
Yep.
And that's the way things typically go. And then societies have a tendency to move left over time.
Yeah. Well, I think you're already, you see this in, I think between cryptocurrency and AI, you're seeing this whole new, and social media, you're seeing this rise of new power come up.
Rise of the machines.
A little bit,
Yeah.
And it's flipping the dynamic. And even I go back to those of you watching this because you would like to find a way to understand crypto and digital currencies, even though we are not financial advisors.
We are not.
We are
do your own research. Yes.
And we know our own things. We know some things. And you should do your own research. But I know a lot of crypto bros, even though we throw that name around, these young 20, 30-year-old guys, they're millionaires. They're billionaires. They're killing it because they use the same technology that will silo us, and they flipped it around. So this is where I like that power dynamic is if you're paying attention, if we're all paying attention, we have the power to flip the script on them. If we stay quiet and sleeping, then they will continue to suppress us and control us. And that's how I see this technology playing out.
Well, I don't know a better way to end the episode than with those fine words of wisdom. Thank you, Deanna.
Yeah.
Another great episode of All Time High. We
Yes.
appreciate you.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
You on my mind a lot. Don't need no time watch. I don't know how I got you in my